This is the fallen angel Christopher Daniels, former TNA X Division champion and former TNA World Tag Team champion, and you are listening to the TNA Cross the Line podcast. Enjoy.
TNA Wrestling, Cross the Line.
And we're back with episode 233 of the TNA Cross the Line podcast. I am Colling Jr. With me, as always, is Dallas Gridley. In Dallas, we are coming off of Sacrifice. And I believe it is the first monthly pay-per-view where you and I both gave it a thumbs down. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Dallas Gridley had a crisis, an internal crisis. He's been texting me for the past several days saying, "What have I become? Am I even a TNA fan? Am I a TNA loyalist?" And I've told him, Dallas, it's okay to not like a wrestling show. I do it all the time.
I'm still hurting, honestly. Actually, it's funny that you say that though, because before we got on, I was like, "Oh shit, we didn't like that episode, and that's really sad."
Yeah, it is. Just a brief reminder of what's going on here. Christian Cage is still the champion. He defeated Abyss in a Full Metal Mayhem match. And I'm not going to go through all the matches because the show is where we do that. But another key thing, or interesting thing, is that Samoa Joe pinned Jeff Jarrett cleanly in the tag team match where Samoa Joe is teaming with Sting against Jarrett and Scott Steiner.
That's right. It was a big moment. And don't forget what happened after the match, but we're going to talk about all that.
Oh, shit. That's right. Because, yeah, we'll talk. I forgot about that. And I'm really interested to see if there is a true follow-up to it. But, okay. Meltzer, well, we're going to be going through the Meltzer rundown as we normally do, star ratings. During the show, I noted some star ratings from... I noticed I mentioned some star ratings from some of my reviewing buddies, like Matt Petticord and Jake Ziegler. And, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting episode. Even doing the notes last night, I'm reading it, and I was like, I just know that this is going to be a different one for us because, as you said already, we both dislike the show, essentially. And one of the reviews you read while we were on the show covering Sacrifice was one that you said was being done at the time of the show, like in 2006. And it was pretty highly talked about. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Dave Meltzer thinks, his opinion on all this, and of course, what the readers of The Observer thought.
And I think it's kind of important that, by 2006 standards, it could have very well been really good, I guess. But sometimes wrestling doesn't necessarily hold up. And that's coming from a guy that's watched a lot of 1992 WCW or WWF, where you'd think, oh, hey, this is going to be a really good match. And then you watch it, it's dog shit. And then you you read reviews from maybe people who grew up during that era who have also reviewed it. And they'll be like, oh my God, 4 stars. I remember as a child, this was great, whatever.
Oh, you mean like every Brett and Diesel match that people talk about on Twitter?
Now, here's now for a long time, I thought that Brett and Diesel had classic matches. And then when we watched them on IcoPod,
oof, dude. Holy moly.
Like, they were not very good.
I think
they weren't bad, but they were not like 4.5 star matches.
Well, the thing that's interesting though is, and not to dive into our other podcast too much here, but in that time period, they weren't too bad. Like,
yeah,
we're watching them at the time like 2022 eyes or whatever it was. And it was like, man, these are not great. But the other stuff we were watching was so much worse. I see people all the time tweeting about WWF 95, and I think that they have not looked back on it since they were a kid, and that's why they talk so highly about it. And that's fine. But holy crap. Go ahead and try to rewatch it.
Well, and there's several Twitter accounts where they will post clips of matches, and they will post only like the high spots.
Yeah.
And those, clips will last like 45 seconds or whatever. Unfortunately, the matches tend to be, 15 to 20 minutes.
Well,
So when you watch the whole match, it's actually pretty brutal.
well, and a lot of those kind of clip things too, they do that for everything. You can make any match look good if you clip out the dead parts.
I can't remember exactly. I can't remember what match it was that one of those pages posted, but I was like, I remember I was watching. I was like, I could have sworn that match like sucked, but here I am watching like this clipped music video thing of it. And I was like, is it a banger that I don't remember?
I'm pretty sure there's one. Isn't there an Iron Man match that's like really not that great or something like that that people talk a lot about, and not WrestleMania 12. Although you could clip WrestleMania 12 and make it look really great too.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
I thought there was like a Triple H and Rock match or something like that I saw one of these clipped like that.
It can't be Triple H Rock at Judgment 2000.
Well, no, it might have not been the Iron Man. It might have not been the Iron Man match.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just saying that because of the people in it.
I feel like there's an Iron Man match between Triple H and Benoit on Raw that's not like seem great.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, like I don't know. You can make anything look good by clipping it.
Yeah, you really can.
But anyways, enough about the WWF in 1995. If you want to listen to us cover that, you can check out the ICO Pod archives with our friend Austin Skinner.
Right.
And including maybe one day our other bonus episode of WCW that we've literally had for a year and a half now, and Bob has not posted it.
It's Slamboree, dude. Okay, I don't want to have to listen to it again.
Spoiler alert: it fucking sucks.
It's really bad. It's a horrible show.
I feel like that one was maybe one of the worst ones we watched. Maybe.
Yeah.
But enough about that. Let's talk about another bad show, or at least, in our timeline, unfortunately bad show. And the thing that's funny about this is it's not even close to the worst thing we've watched on this podcast. But we've been on such a hot streak. You get our excitement levels high. You have a C-level pay-per-view in between arguably two of your biggest. Unfortunately, it's going to be really hard to make it good. And that was the problem. Now, I don't have the right thing open, so I was going to ask Bob here. We gave it a thumbs down. Here we go. What does Bob think that the Wrestling Observer readers thought? Did they give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or a thumbs in the middle?
Okay, I'm going to assume that based off the reviews that I've read, that this was a thumbs up show for the readers.
It was close, but 71.6% gave it a thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm joking. It's not close at all because 8.5% gave it a thumbs down and 19.9% gave it a thumbs in the middle, which is generally fairly positive. So
yeah, this is a rarity. We're in the minority, and I knew that though.
This is crazy to me. Just number reference, because it's not as embarrassing because it's not 12 people anymore. 101 people were up, 12 were down, and 28 were in the middle. So, what do you think got voted on as the best match of the show?
Shit. Well, let me look up the card again so I can double check here. I'm gonna say, oh man, I'm gonna say the World X Cup Final Gauntlet.
That was in third place.
Damn it. Okay. Okay. All right. Full Metal Mayhem is not the best match on the show. This is not. I'm gonna Petey and Liger.
No, that's not even on here. Wow, I can't
Oh
believe you.
shit. Okay, wait. AMW Styles Daniels.
That's right.
Okay.
95 people said that NWA Tag Team Title match was their favorite match. 23 people said Sting and Joe versus Steiner and Jarrett. And finally, the World X Cup. Now, what about the worst match? The thing that's crazy is, even though the matches were less than good overall, I think it's not as easy to be like, hey, that was the worst match. But there might be two that might stand out to you.
There are definitely, and they were like kind of back to back. Raven and A1.
Yeah, 100 people said it was the worst match.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, that's not good.
That's not good at all.
And in second place was Bobby Roode and Rhino with only 8 votes.
Yeah,
so it was almost 100% voted on if Raven versus A1. Wow. The thing that's crazy to me, Raven, as we talked about on the show, even when he essentially was fired, like quote unquote fired, suspended, whatever you want to call it, I would argue was still like pretty hot. Like he wasn't like as big as he was when he first started in TNA, but he was still over enough. And then he comes back and like unfortunately his health has declined a little bit and it's not working good right now.
Well, I don't think we will ever see Raven anywhere near the top of the card like he once was.
No, we saw peak Raven.
Yeah, I mean when he won the title in 05, in June of 05, which is like kind of a similar, almost a similar type of story because wasn't he kind of like not really doing it, or like Jarrett got suspended and then he came back in?
Yes, he wasn't supposed to be in the match, and then
he was like barred from the.
Yeah.
And then he got thrown in there. Kind of roughly the same idea. Yeah, I don't know. 2003 Raven, as we've said before.
I mean, that's the prime, right?
Is the last like prime Raven, and that's for the whole year. I think 2004. It starts to get a little shaky. And I think by the fall of 05, it's like we're cooked, folks. We are cooked.
See, I don't know. I guess the biggest part here is I can't remember a good Raven match from the fall, so I guess that's where I'm gonna kick myself in the ass.
Well, I mean, I think the last one would be with Rhino at Unbreakable.
Yeah. No, that's a really
that we've seen. Yeah. I think right now Raven is kind of in the May 2006 mindset. He's the nostalgia act on the indies that you go to see.
Ugh. Oh, I hate it so much. It's not fair, Bob. It's not fair.
But it is. And
he's one of my favorites. And this is what we have to. This is what it's come down to.
I know. I remember when he went to 2CW the first time in 2010.
Oh yeah, I was there.
And I was as well. And let me tell you, that was a great weekend of shows. Anyway.
And we didn't know each other.
That's right. And I'm still convinced that when I was heckling Morris City Machine Guns against American Wolves, you turned around and was like, TNA's great. I'm almost certain that it was.
I wouldn't be surprised, but anyway.
I'm pretty sure. So that was like April. That's April 2010. Okay. I wanted to see Raven, but it was not because, oh, hey, this guy's going to put on a great match. No. It's the nostalgia of, hey, it's Raven.
Yeah, by then it definitely was. But you're saying that, and you're saying that 4 years earlier.
Yes, I'm saying that in May 2006, it's a nostalgia thing.
That's crazy.
And you know what's funny is that the 2CW match in April 2010 is 4 months before his next match with Tommy Dreamer, which may be his last final great match. at Hardcore Justice.
I would agree with that because
So,
I'd have to watch it back. But
I
when
would too. I would as well. But I recall people being like, "This was a great throwback for Raven Dreamer." Now I could be far off on that, but
I could, no, me too. But I remember watching it being like, "That's a good Raven match. Like that was what I wanted." And like, oh yeah. Anyway, we don't have to talk too much about it, but yeah, crazy stuff.
yeah, we'll get to watch it in 6 years.
I
Well,
did
4 years.
I did tell Bob that we were going to potentially continue the podcast till 2016 when they stopped. Or no, 2013. It's 2013.
Yeah, but now, so here's the thing. Okay. Now, again, peek behind the curtain. When we first started this 4 years ago, roughly 4 years ago.
We were hoping we could get out of the asylum.
Right. We were like, we got to get at least to Fox Sports Net. Like, we got to at least get to there. And we got there. But then at some point we were like, when does like TNA really change? Like, it's totally different. Like, it wouldn't be the TNA that we grew up on. And we were both like when Hogan and Bischoff came in.
Yeah, I mean.
So like the January 4th, 2010, we would watch that January 4th show and then be like, that's the button. You know, that's it. Now, here's the thing. Dallas jokes, but TNA from 2010 onward is potentially like my version of WCW 2000, where you need to watch it just because there's just so much shit going on and like you just don't know how to react to any of it.
There's almost too much.
Yeah, but I think it would be entertaining.
Do you know the name of the guy on Twitter who has been posting TNA 2011 stuff now?
Isn't it? It's like Justin, right?
I just can't remember his handle, dude. If you guys do not follow this guy, just even I'm gonna try it. Search hashtag TNA11, and it's got to come up. It does. So it's just hashtag TNA11. This guy posts the best stuff.
Yeah.
At Justin _ S of OK.
I saw there was one where like Mr. Anderson cuts a promo on them getting like Bin Laden or something.
Yeah, dude.
That was so good.
Well, and he just got to the era where it's Impact now.
Yes.
And it switched to Impact.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my God. I absolutely love this guy's page. And like I was telling you one day, like recently he's been posting, he was using like the Hogan like laughing. Yes. And then like Drew Galloway was fucking posting.
Oh, he posted
Drew
that
McIntyre. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then of course you have stuff like this when
yeah.
Chris Harris came back and stuff. Just crazy stuff. Anyways, we're getting off topic. Really, really good stuff. Okay, let's talk.
At a minimum, we should watch the pay-per-views.
I mean, we might have to. And then, of course, knowing me, I'm going to watch all the impacts on the sides. And
yeah.
It's just what I'm going to be. We're going to turn in.
And then we're just going to continue the podcast till fucking they lose their national TV deal. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
As we literally just set off air how much time we'd have if we weren't. Yeah, we'll be doing it about 7 years. We'll still be doing
this 10 years later. It'd be great.
Yeah, but see, then we have to like wait about 10 years, and then we got to start it back up because TNA just came back in 2023.
Oh, right.
So we got to actually pause for a while. I'm like, no, we don't do Impact. We don't do it. Even if there is some decent stuff once they lose Bischoff and Hogan, we don't do it.
Right.
Anyway, let's dive into this show because we have some interesting stuff to talk about, and we're going to, of course,
do the breakdown. What Meltzer says about this shit.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But before that, he does have a few other notes that he kind of talks about some matches and stuff, as always. But so TNA's Sacrifice show on May 14th in Orlando was the expected good show from the promotion. Almost all the matches were above average.
Oh.
It lacked one killer match that you come to expect, although the AMW and Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles came close to that level. I think that opening line already is like, Bob and Dallas, you guys are fucking morons.
Yeah.
However, if there was a one like insane killer match, we could have potentially switched. Because for me, it was the slowness of the other matches. The tag match was great. Full Metal Mayhem, I think, was a little lackluster, but it was fine. And I think the Sting and Joe against Steiner and Jarrett had some good moments, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. But if you had another match that was like some crazy X Division match or something, I don't know. I think you could have swayed me a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that the Full Metal Mayhem for me was a disappointment because there was no juice. I don't know how you have that match and not even Abyss blood.
I mean, that's a really great point.
That was really confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really one to sit there and be like, I watched a 3-hour show, but 25 minutes of it was good because of one match, so thus it's a thumbs up. Like I'm just not that type of guy. So even if at this point, even if there was like a killer match, like one killer match, I wouldn't have said probably that it was a great show or a good show.
Hey, that's okay.
But AMW Styles Daniels was good.
It was. Now, Dave points out something very important here, and I think we even called this out during the show as well. As I continued to choke.
Well, you shouldn't have had Tully's tenders.
Dude, I just shoveled in 4 tenders faster than you could imagine, and I'm freaking hacking up a lung.
Are you like Squidward when he gets like the fork stuck in his throat? But it's a Tully's tender.
That's what it feels like, dude. And the only thing I have to wash it down is a fucking Starbucks coffee. I'm having a night. So
I'm stressed.
I'm having a time. The problems with the crowd, written about 3 weeks ago, remained. Now, if anything, it was worse this time. It was noted to me that the most loyal fans who make the signs and generally get to the chants going no to show up about 2 hours early to get seats in the front of the camera. Now, this time, word got around that they would have to show up at 3 p.m. to get the best seats.
So, oh my God. I can just imagine the fucking text message from Dallas. Bob, I know the show starts at 8. We gotta be in line by 2:30 if we want front row. And I'd be like, brother, I will be in the bleachers.
Well, it's funny you say that because one person explained that before the show started, waiting on long lines, it was like they were jumping through hoops to get in. So granted, it's a free show, but being out in the hot sun for 5 hours before it starts is going to drain the audience of its energy. And on a show like this, that made a difference.
That would maybe explain that crowd energy. Okay. Well, There we go then.
Yep.
Because I remember during like the James Gang entrance, they were fucking dead. They're like, we don't even care about these guys.
They were dead in a lot of that show, to be honest.
Yes, they were. Cage and Abyss, they were dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. That makes a lot of sense.
Now, he goes on to say that there is a realization that TNA will at least attempt to do another pay-per-view events in new locations within a few months, with some talk of September being the first show. So they're realizing that the heat here could potentially be a downer. Now, they're
going to do what?
Try to do pay-per-views in different places instead of just Orlando.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Now, this all being said, and we're talking about how fans are miserable and everything. Well, the show still drew the usual 900 fans to Universal, turning away many. So it's still doing good there. Now, our response levels were almost identical with the show from 3 weeks ago, which is not good, Dave says. This month and last month's lockdown, based on our response level, which has been pretty consistently mirrored the company's buy rates. We're both down around 27% from Destination X and Against All Odds, and 33% down from Final Resolution, which was when the company drew its highest pay-per-view numbers in the history for Sting's return, which was about 50,000 buys. So, pretty interesting. Now, on a positive side, TNA also created, or lucked into, or a little bit of both, its first intense angle. Now, Bob, you got to help me out here as I'm reading this. I think I missed this. I think this went completely over my fucking head.
Intense angle?
Yeah. And that is with Samoa Joe versus Scott Steiner. So I'll keep going here, but I didn't pick up on this. I don't know if I just completely went over my head. I wasn't thinking about this enough, but anyway, even though it was booked late in the show, you could see different kind of heat than TNA has had for anything in its history, and that WWE almost never has as well, as fans chanted "Joe's going to kill you" at Steiner. They believe in and like Joe, but Steiner's portrayal is such that people aren't sure. Some people would say it's the company's first money angle, but I'm not sure that terminology really fits with TNA, Dave says. Plus, until we see evidence of a buy rate jump, calling it a money program doesn't fit the bill.
No, what?
But there was a crowd intensity that seemed to indicate the potential to be something different from anything the company has done since getting on Spike. Bob, did I miss this? Did I not see the heat that Joe and Scott Steiner had, I guess?
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. First off, the first money angle was Raven Jarrett
It got people talking.
from 3 years ago. I mean, that is
Well, then
undoubtedly.
he then ends up, remember at the end here, he says, done since getting on Spike. So he kind of covers himself a little there, but
He does, yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm almost thinking at some point this week when I actually get 5 minutes to breathe and not have to do something, I might need to rewatch this tag match. Because I feel like as we continue on these notes here, this match went way over my head, and I think it was because in between the tag match and this tag match, the title match in this one, was such a stinker that maybe it just kind of put me in a bad mood. I don't know.
I don't think I got a vibe that it was some kind of monster heat or anything.
Now, the good news is the angle created a hot Sting and Joe versus Steiner and Jarrett match, with the tired crowd coming alive in big way every time Steiner was in with Joe. It was a breakthrough in that Joe was portrayed as the big star in the company for the first time, as opposed to simply an X Division who never lost in singles, but never faced any of the world title contenders. Joe pinned Jarrett to win the match and worked back and forth with Steiner. Now, they couldn't have Joe or Steiner do too much with another or dominate the other in any length of time because they need to save it for the singles program. Then, after scoring the win, Joe walked out on Sting and left him getting beaten by Jarrett and Steiner. The crowd badly wanted Joe to turn and eventually become friends with Sting and top face, which is obviously the long-term idea. He says, like with Triple H on Raw, they're doing it in the manner Dutch Mantel did all the programs in Puerto Rico, like that with the slow week-by-week build. Now, this all being said, there is some bad news. It's not a spoiler, but it's kind of a spoiler of Explosion, which I was going to tell you about this match anyways. But the negative is that Joe looks to have suffered a serious knee injury in a match that was taped on the show that we are about to watch now, for Explosion. So he got injured for an Explosion match.
Oh shit.
Yeah, this ain't good. And I will say too, Explosion is taped after the other two shows. So if he does appear, he's not injured on these next two episodes. Now, Joe was in a hot open with David Young when his knee went out. He still finished the match, even though he was injured during his entrance. He had to be helped out of the ring, which is considered his reputation for he had to be helped out of the ring. Considering his reputation for toughness was considered a bad sign, because he normally would not have wanted that. He was taking
Did they just say a hot opener with David Young?
Yeah, in a hot open. I'm assuming that just means he ran out and attacked him. That's how I read it, and that's how he got injured during it. I don't know. We'll have to find the Explosion match and find out. Brian Turner
I just wouldn't expect a great Samoa Joe David Young match.
I see. Hey, if it's not Explosion, I guess. Now, he was taken to a hospital where the preliminary diagnosis was that he tore his PCL and MCL, but he didn't tear his ACL. He's scheduled for an MRI later this week, at which point treatment and how long he'll be out will be better estimated. At press time, the fear was that he would be out of action for a while, The hope was that no surgery would be needed because the ACL didn't tear, which is what it does appear, bearing discovery for any new problems later in the week. And he'd be out only a few weeks and could probably make the next pay-per-view. Now, TNA should not air the Young match at any point with commentary that points out the injury and credit the injury to a non-ring attack by Steiner. So whenever Joe can return, the program can pick up that it was an added element. It's a pretty good idea. Not too bad.
Could you imagine David Young stealing the heat?
Yeah, right. No, I can't. Now the other bad news here, and this is back to Sacrifice. He says, so we talked about the good news. The good news was the heat between Steiner and Samoa Joe. The bad news is Christian versus Abyss died after that match.
Yes.
Is what he says. Which is probably accurate.
No,
you're right. Right. Now it was the wrong match order in hindsight. Christian did a funny promo, and they've done a lot. They've done a lot of angles. Don't be surprised to see them doing as WWE does when they have a strong semifinal match. They could be overshadow the main event, and then put in a, as he says, a women's match or a garbage segment after the semi, because that was the general consensus as to what part of the problem was. So they did a serious match. Christian cut a silly promo, and then they had essentially a subpar main event. So that's why he's comparing it to WWE. Now, as good as a talker as Christian is, this stint has really seemed to show that Christian, at least as a face, is not a viable world champion. I don't think it's the WWE mid-carder for life deal as making the belt seem secondary, as much as Christian seems to lack that main star presence. Clearly, as a casual fan draw, he's not there. And while hardcore fans may have believed he was better than his lot in WWE, in hindsight, it hasn't done TNA any favors to have a world champion who lost far more than he won on Raw and SmackDown television. Christian has worked entertaining programs, but it's always been with an opponent who is the main star. His ultimate TNA world title programs, either Joe or Sting, that's ideal, right, would fit into what he's best at, but both are simply months away from being ready. The idea of turning him heel is the right move, but this may not be the right time for the move, and there's no guarantee that he'll do any better as a headlining heel. Besides, there are only 4 viable candidates that he can see making world champion if you take it from him. Jarrett, but it's the wrong time for that. Monty Brown, who quite frankly needs to prove himself more to get over before Dave says he'd make that call. Abyss, who I don't think is the type who makes a good champion, which is interesting way to put it. Although he does work with the contenders lined up. And Steiner. So Steiner sounds good on paper, but the first time he's put in a world title match, he'll do the WWE Triple H self-destruct before your eyes. Steiner needs short brawls. Eventually, Joe is the guy who should have the belt, but with his injury, that isn't an option. And even if he wasn't hurt, that's something to book a slow-building program months down the line. He goes on to say that for Christian, he's missing, even in TNA, which has generally smaller guys, a believability aspect. While a good worker, he's not outstanding enough or charismatic enough in any aspect to overcome his lack of being an intimidating physical force. So that is his idea of how Christian is doing.
Well, he is a far more entertaining heel than a babyface. I mean, when he started getting a quote unquote cult following in WWE, the Captain Charisma deal, like an 05, right. That's a heel. He was a heel with Tomko.
Right.
The stuff with Jericho and Trish in 04, he's a heel.
That stuff's good.
Yeah, so I think him as a babyface is probably not the greatest thing, but when you bring him in initially here to combat Jarrett, I mean, people are going to have that initial like, oh my god, Christian's here, blah blah blah, and as soon as you put the title on him, it's like, okay, now what? There's nothing really to cheer for. It's like I'm telling you now.
That happens so often, dude.
Exactly, and the thing, and I'll use an extreme example here. Sting. You go back and watch those Nitros, 96, 97, the crowd is eating up. They're going nuts. They're going nuts for Sting Hogan in like July of 97. Management is like, Sting, well, I got a contract for you, and it's for a match with Kurt Hennig. And people are like, no, dude, it's fucking Hogan. Like, that's who we want. And they're screaming at, like, Hogan, blah, 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 right? He wins the title under whatever circumstances. And you can just tell that there's no reason to get behind him again.
Right.
Because he's already accomplished it. Now he's a champion fighting off these guys. Okay, he's not going for the title. That's why that's why the chase of a year and a half, and he has the title. I mean, technically he wins it again at Super Brawl because it goes vacated, but he loses it in 2 months.
Right. I feel like when the babyface wins it, it almost needs to be short, because then you can just start it again. You know, you can get the heat back.
Right, and then I think it's a different era because Hogan was a babyface champion for several years in the 80s, but the title defenses weren't really on TV. You're doing house shows, you're building up these heels, whatever.
Right.
But now with several, for some companies, several TV shows in a week. I think having a babyface champion for an extended time is pretty difficult. I mean, there are obviously exceptions to the rules, but I mean, even like Stone Cold Steve Austin, babyface Steve Austin, even though he's more so a tweener, he is far more effective chasing the heel champion. That's why, again, when he was at the top as a babyface, his title reigns weren't necessarily the longest, really, in hindsight, when you look at it. He didn't hold the title for, really long times. They were usually broken up every, hey, I've been champion for 2 months. I'm going to lose it to Kane at King of the Ring, but I'm going to win the next night. And then I'm going to hold it for a couple more months and then lose it again. Oh, now it's WrestleMania season. I got to lose it again so I can chase after Rock. Stuff like that.
Lose it to Kane and then beat Kane.
That's right.
I don't know. I
think that's one of the highest rated segments is when he beats Kane for the title.
That's ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. One more long form note here before we break down matches. There was a situation that took place regarding New Japan and TNA leading up to the pay-per-view that at one point threatened to end their relationship.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And guess whose side it wasn't? TNA's. The original plans were that the X Cup would go down to a 3-way tie with Japan.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. With Japan, Canada, and the U.S., leading to a 3-way match on Impact, which would, of course, be, at this point, Chris Sabin, Petey Williams, and Jushin Liger, the Team Japan captain. Now, that's a good reminder, Bob. We are seeing the finals, technically, tonight on our show. Liger was scheduled to beat Williams, and a Japanese member was scheduled to finish the second X Division Rumble. Now, New Japan officials then told TNA that they had to change of plans, and they didn't want Liger wrestling 2 straight days. Nobody could figure out what the deal was, since New Japan doesn't even start its next tour until May 27th. So the finish was changed with New Japan out of the playoff. So even stranger was New Japan officials insisted that Liger's win over Petey Williams come only due to outside interference from his teammates. Dave says, I can understand that from a New Japan standpoint, that the CTU group is a heelish group that sticks together. But TNA was negative about that because they expected Liger to be the face against Williams, which he was. The big argument was that they had to book overall screwjob finishes on the show and felt the opener needed a clean finish. Now, at one point, the agreement was that Liger would pin Williams clean with no interference, but the CTU members could be at ringside. Then, when they were out there, the Japanese did the finish that they wanted to anyways. I guess as a compromise again, with Black Tiger distracting the ref and Goto giving Williams a low blow. Plus, then they buried Williams under a Japanese flag. Part of the explanation for potential problems, although as it turned out, the show went off to as planned, were because New Japan seemed to be reaching out to WWE. John Laurinaitis was at a New Japan dojo show in Santa Monica on May 7th, while Simon Inoki and Shinsuke Nakamura were at Raw tapings on May 8th in Anaheim. Inoki didn't come to this show. So, seems like they're kind of fucking them around a little bit.
Yeah.
Which it's just so interesting. They're having issues in New Japan. We've been having issues with AAA and CMLL. Like we cannot figure this stuff out. And the World X Cup crap, because apparently it's causing drama.
So this is the type of stuff I've never understood. If Liger comes to TNA and he does a clean job to Petey, how does that impact him in New Japan?
I don't know.
You know, that'd be like Petey going to New Japan and losing to Liger cleanly. I am not going to sit here in the TNA universe and be like, oh, wow, Petey's a jobber. Unless, like, New Japan sees these guys so low that they think that if it were to get out to their fan base,
it
would damage them. That'd be pretty nutty.
Yeah, but I like that he was going to pin Williams clean, and they were like, no, it's got to be dirty. They got to low blow him.
Because he's a heel.
Because he's the heel, so they have to do that. Oh, that was interesting. But that actually leads us right into the show. And guess what the first match was, Bob? Jushin Liger. Jushin Liger pinned Petey Williams in 7 minutes and 19 seconds. And some interesting stuff here. So Liger came out with Minoru, Hiroki Goto, and Black Tiger with their CTU gear on, which we talked about during the show because I was like, what is that? We texted our friend Austin Skinner. He said they're heels. Now, it was noted that they were controlled terrorism unit. And now it wasn't picked up on that in the Japanese magazines when showing photos of Goto, Minoru, and Tiger from lockdown. They called CTU Control TNA Unit. So in the Japanese yeah, that's pretty funny. Eventually in the match here, Williams went for a Canadian destroyer when Tiger distracted referee Mark Johnson. Goto ran in with the low blow, as we just talked about. Liger picked up Williams for the back suplex. Instead, face planted him for the pin. 2.25 stars. And I think it's really important to remember the picture went out in that match, which Dave does make note of, and they had to actually show us the finish about halfway through the show. Yeah, so 2.25 stars. After that match, they did an interview with AMW, Jackie Gata, and Gail Kim. Gata was crying, as she was on TV a few days ago. Boris asked her why she was crying, and she said she was pregnant. Gail Kim was upset, and then they fired her. And Dave says, wow, they are stealing their storylines from real life in WWE.
Mm-hmm. And so, that's in reference to, I think, Dominate.
Yeah. This is fucked up.
Which was several years earlier, but
it's so fucked up.
Same.
The next match, Chris Harris and James Storm retained the NWA tag titles over AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels in 15 minutes, 30 seconds. These two teams finally had the match people expected they were capable of. Eventually, no, I shouldn't say eventually first. I should say Gail Kim was banned from ringside, but eventually Rudy Charles was bumped. Gail Kim was up in the rafters because she was barred from ringside, of course, so she couldn't be down there. But she dropped a nightstick from the ceiling into the ring. After a series of moves, Styles hit the Styles Clash on Storm, but Harris got the nightstick and clocked Styles with it. A really nice shot, too, I remember. And Storm got the pin. He gives this match 3.75 stars. Next up, Larry Zbyszko did a genuinely funny promo trying to give A1 a pep talk, while A1 seemed to have no idea who he was, calling him Barry. Mark Johnson then told Zbyszko that the new authority figure would debut at Slammiversary on June 18th. Zbyszko asked who it was, and Johnson said it was Roddy Piper, and then he said he was kidding, followed by names like Vince Russo, Ultimate Warrior, also saying he was kidding both times. But Zbyszko made the segment work, particularly when Russo's name came up, and Zbyszko said, Vince Russo? I hate Vince Russo. Which I feel like is just foreshadowing.
Yeah, not like on screen wise, but
yeah. And then next up, Bob's favorite match of the night, Raven pinned A1 in 5 minutes and 19 seconds. Raven dyed his hair gray, as he says, which I'll be honest with you, I think the blue kind of just faded. I don't know if he really died.
Yeah.
I'm just adding my 2 cents there. He said, I guess to have a dark punk look, but it backfired because he looked 75 years old instead. And the one thing he used to have going for him is he could play a character younger than he is, since he's in his early 40s here. An unintentionally funny spot, which we noticed very clearly in the match, is when they had one gimmick turnbuckle, and A1 was to take the padding off, but it took him 3 tries to find the right turnbuckle and get the padding off. He walked around the ring twice. It was ridiculous. Now, Zbyszko distracted the ref so that A1 could hit a low blow. However, A1 ended up with his back going into the turnbuckle that he gimmicked, and Raven hit the DDT, of course, the Raven effect, for the win. Zbyszko grabbed the mic, and he and Raven had a pull apart. Raven looked really tired, and Zbyszko was tremendous, breaking away from security, throwing security everywhere. The signing of Cornette must have lit a fire under him because he was one of the only stars of the night. Or sorry, not only. He was one of the stars of the night. Dave gives this match half a star.
I mean, even half a star is generous.
Next up, Bobby Roode pinned Rhino in 12 minutes, 7 seconds. He actually rates the least about this, but I'm going to skip right to the end like I normally do with these. He had the gore set up when D'Amore distracted him, and Roode hit the Northern Lariat for the pin. 2.5 stars.
2.5? There's no way. What are we doing? Oh, okay.
2.5. I don't know.
That seems high too for that.
Yeah, well. Next up backstage, Team 3D did a very good promo, he says. Bubba talked about how people always remember where they were when various things happened, such as 9/11, when OJ was declared not guilty, which of course they kind of went back and forth on. He wasn't guilty, and Bubba said, "You know he killed that white girl." That is his quote, not mine. And then he brought up February 27th, 2000 in Hartford, when the Dudleys won the WWF Tag Team titles over the New Age Outlaws. He used the formerly known as in both cases. BG did a promo in the ring mentioning that the Dudleys used a lead pipe and called Bubba a mark and I don't remember my win-loss records. And Dave says, well, as I always say, if the wrestler tells me that he doesn't care about his matches, then why should I? Which I actually think is that's kind of an interesting way to look at that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the match. BG and Kip defeated Team 3D in 9 minutes, 35 seconds. The match was much better than expected. BG and Bubba both did drop kicks. I just think that's hilarious that he had to write that. By the way, they were not fucking good drop kicks, just in case anyone did not see the match. One thing about Bubba, he has to change his ring gear. He came out looking like an overweight 45-year-old who hadn't done anything athletic since he was a star high school lineman and came out to the bar joking it up with his buddies.
He looked horrible.
It's the outfit. And he says it. Oversized t-shirt, baggy jeans. He says he couldn't get past it. Anyways, later in the match, the finish was retribution for that match 6 years ago in the WWF as the James Gang went heel when BG hit Devon with a pipe and got the pin. 2.5 stars. And I'm going to say it now, after Bob explained it better to me, phenomenal finish. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just because, wow, long-term storytelling. Wow. Okay, next up.
I bet Jeff Jarrett was in a WCW locker room in February 2000 going, oh, I can't wait for a payoff on this 6 years in my startup.
I'm going to book the free match. Petey Williams next won the 16-man Rumble for the X Cup in 18 minutes, 35 seconds. It was 5 points for the winning and 2 points for the second place. The U.S. already had 5 points and Canada had 0. Japan had 3 and Mexico had 2. They never explained it before the match, the various possibilities or strategies on how it could be finished. And I'm not reading all this because it was a battle royal. But eventually, Lethal, Puma, and Williams were left. Puma eliminated Lethal, so it came down to Petey Williams and Puma. And quickly, Williams hit the Canadian Destroyer for the pin. Now, the rules were that it was down to 2. The rules changed to pinfall and submission, just like Gauntlet for the gold. After Williams left, Kevin Nash sauntered out. And yes, Kevin Nash is here. Again, in the exhibition. He's also put on some weight, he says, since the last time he was here, which I don't know if I necessarily noticed or cared about, but that's what Dave talks about. So.
He didn't look out of shape or anything.
No, he did not. He says, probably for the best, because anything artificial to keep the weight off, he'd be smart to avoid after 2 heart attack scares. He didn't have gray hair, but moved like Kurgan with a little Tim Salvia thrown in. He destroyed Puma with a powerbomb and proclaimed that he just took the guy who went to the finals in the X Division and beat him like it was nothing. And how could he beat every X Division guy one after another? Even knowing where this is going, it's even nuttier watching it happen. Dave gave the Battle Royal here 3.25 stars. Next up, Sting and Samoa Joe defeated Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner 14 minutes, 24 seconds. Sting got a big reaction coming out, but it was clear to the live crowd that Joe was the big star, and they wanted to see him with Steiner as they came alive. He talks about a bunch of stuff in the match, but eventually Jarrett used a low blow and got the stroke on Joe, but Joe kicked out. Joe then got the pin on Jarrett after using the Muscle Buster. Sting went to shake Joe's hand, but Joe paused. Reluctantly, he shook hands and left. Jarrett and Steiner then went to work on Sting while Joe ignored it and walked to the back as a heel. Steiner hit Sting with a chair shot and held Sting so that Jarrett could hit him with a guitar. All the undercard faces hit the ring for the save. He gives his match 3.5 stars.
There's no way.
Finally, the main event, the one that Bob's been waiting for. Christian Cage retained the NWA title over Abyss in 16 minutes, 10 seconds in a tables, ladders, and chairs and chains match, otherwise known as Full Metal Mayhem. The crowd was dead. The match wasn't bad, and they used all the weapons. Eventually here, Cage used the Unprettier on the ladder and then slammed Mitchell into thumbtacks, which is pretty cool, except for the fact that Mitchell was extremely obvious as he took off his jacket. Mitchell sold it great, he says. Christian put Abyss on the table and climbed on the ladder. When he got to the last step, instead of grabbing the belt, he did a frog splash onto Abyss through the table. Cage then climbed back up and got the belt to win. 2.5 stars.
Yeah, that sounds about right for the main event, which is a major disappointment.
Right.
He now with Joe walking out, he's not making it sound like as if there's going to be an issue between Joe and Sting.
No, and to me, that's kind of what they're doing. So that's what's weird to me.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. I wonder how they're going to play this off on TV. I'm almost wondering if they're not even going to make note of it.
They might not. We might just kind of ignore it for now. I don't know. That covers us for Sacrifice. I do have 2 more notes quick before we get into the show, just because one is a little bit longer, and I don't know where the other one really can fit into our show. But then we can find out how this all plays out on TV, which I'm very excited to find out. The first one here actually is kind of me. It's just a continuation of me bitching about the Rolex Cup. And he says, at this point, it would be a decent bet that there will never be another one, another Rolex Cup. It was said to be something that took too many hours to put together, caused too many headaches, and in the end had zero upside other than its original format. It would have provided a chance to see some of the biggest stars in the world, and probably would have been tremendous. Now, part of the problem was at first TNA worked through David Marquez. I think I'm saying his name right. Marquez of New Japan, and that is a lesson of the ROH New Japan relationship that doesn't exist any longer. CMLL is considered a lost cause because of Paco Alonso doesn't want his guys working elsewhere, and when AAA couldn't provide its top talent, and when it goes both ways in that so many of Peña's guys don't have working visas and TNA wasn't going to get visas, it just fell apart. And that has soured a lot of relationships in the process. Now, that all being said, David Marquez has indicated to TNA that he could get them the right New Japan guys and top CMLL guys through the New Japan CMLL working agreement. They did get close to the Japanese crew they wanted, but had all kinds of problems with Jushin Liger pulling out of last month's pay-per-view after they were assured that they could advertise him. They ended up not even getting phone calls returned by Paco Alonso of CMLL after it became evident that Marquez wasn't going to be able to get them the top talent. Now, he was talking about running, was talking about running a TNA house show tour in several major markets this summer, but the presumption is that there's nothing to it to begin with. And even more so, with the latest problems that there is nothing to it, period. So I think we're kind of done with partnerships for a little while here in TNA. I think it's safe to say.
I don't know if I've ever heard of a successful working agreement ever.
I don't think not especially not this time.
I mean, I guess AEW's kept it pretty clean
It's not bad.
in like the more modern time, but before that, oh boy.
Yeah.
Does not seem like it's worth it.
I agree. Okay, final note, and then we can get into the show. And then we'll have more during the show. But you're going to like this one, Bob, because Bill Goldberg posted on his website that he's been talking with TNA.
Oh, God. Okay.
Which, by the way, is actually several months old news. Now, Goldberg did get a first actual money offer this week from TNA, but he turned it down.
Oh, shit. How much was it? $75?
No, we don't. I don't have a number, unfortunately. Right now, with his son just born, it would be very difficult for him to get to do anything. Now, even later, it will take a ton of money, and those who are pretty much aware of what is going on are doubtful that TNA's offer will be close to what he'd be willing to work for, and that is a deal not likely to happen. So
I don't know what positives you would get out of bringing Goldberg in. He is going to beat every single person on your roster. The quote unquote money match would be probably him and Samoa Joe at this point. And Samoa Joe probably ain't going to be Goldberg. That's just not the TNA way.
No. Well, for not only is it not the TNA way, you think his ass is going to let that happen?
Oh my God, no.
He knows what they're planning, if there even is an idea, and he ain't going to let it happen. You see how upset this dude ain't even active anymore. And he's upset that Asuka in WWE had a longer streak than he did.
Yeah.
He's not even active. And guess
it's
what?
It's also wrestling. So
yeah, it's also fake.
Fucking chill.
Sorry, I shouldn't say you know what I mean.
Right.
No, it's real to me.
It's scripted shit. I mean, technically, I'm pretty sure Tatanka had a longer undefeated streak than Goldberg.
Oh my God, here we go.
So, if this guy wants to be throwing hissy fits.
He does. It's Goldberg. Of course he wants to. Come on. Who you fooling? Anyway, that's all I got. I am ready to get into this episode. I actually can't wait to get into this episode. So, Bob, are you ready for the May 18th, 2006 edition of Impact?
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about this show for 2 hours and we haven't even gotten into it.
We're about to.
All right. Well, if you want to watch along with us, head over to the TNA Plus app or find it in your own personal collection. May 18th, 2006. The approximate runtime for this is 42:52. I'm going to count down from 3. When I say play, that is when we are going to start watching the show. Let's see the fallout of Sacrifice and our beginning hype for Slammiversary. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, it's a Spike original, Bob.
Well, not really, but they took it.
Life is not without peril. Isn't this the same? Isn't this the Sacrifice Open that we saw?
Probably.
Well, I'll tell you right now that during this taping, there was 2 explosion matches that were taped. One airs on May 19th, 2006, and that's Team Canada's A1 and Eric Young defeating Shark Boy and Sanjay Dutt. And then, airing on May 26th, Samoa Joe defeated David Young in a non-title match where he unfortunately was injured.
If this is a Sacrifice thing, why are we doing it on the Go Home or the Fallout show? This isn't even clips of the pay-per-view.
I might be wrong.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so they're definitely going to go Joe Steiner.
I mean, they just showed it so blatantly on screen.
Yeah.
Oh no! See, these men have sacrificed.
Yeah, so they're showing just clips from the pay-per-view, which is fine. I'm surprised they're not showing like stills though. They're actually showing footage. You can tell that his blue hair faded. That is not him
Dying in
going
gray.
Yeah, that's definitely faded blue.
What was that clip of Sting jumping into nothing? That was such a weird clip.
Sacrifice.
There is no great reward without sacrifice. And look at here, they are showing this Joe kind of walking away from Sting thing.
And they did note that.
Right into the Impact intro. Okay. That was a cool little recap of the show, though. I kind of like how they did that.
Yeah, so now, like, when you see that, you were thinking, oh, Sacrifice might have been pretty good.
That did make it look really good.
Yeah.
It did make it look really good.
Damn it. Why? Why do they do this?
Sting was added in the end of the intro there. We might have got an updated intro.
Probably did.
Sudden death tiebreaker here tonight. Chris Sabin, Petey Williams. Which team's going to win? I bet you it's Team USA because I feel like they always win.
$60-minute adrenaline rush, even though it's really about 40 minutes, but whatever.
Well, yeah, because you think the adrenaline stops during those commercial breaks, right?
Yeah, you got to catch your breath, you know?
Speaking of the commercials, you know how in modern wrestling they do the picture-in-picture thing a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that.
I don't dislike it, but I don't ever usually pay attention to it. Oh, Christian Cage kicking us off.
That's what I'm saying. That's why just give me the full commercial because I'm not going to really pay attention. And usually in the picture, they're just doing a wrestled anyway.
No, that's not true.
Sometimes.
Well, what I was going to say though, so I don't know if this is a Sling thing because I have Sling, but on Impact recently, TNA, they say we're going to keep this going in picture-in-picture. And then it doesn't go into picture-in-picture, and then they just keep going because if it's on like Impact Plus or whatever, and then all of a sudden it goes in picture-in-picture when they're back, or it's been going in the middle of a promo. I'm missing promos because the screen just switches and it just goes. So I don't know if it's like produced wrong, if they're giving the network the wrong times. I don't know what it is, dude. But I've been missing like promos and shit, and like it's like off cue. It's so fucking weird. Christian's going through the crowd here. Is he about to cut a promo in the crowd?
Well, he's a champion of the people.
Right. He's with his peeps. Is that Bob right there?
No.
That's you.
He doesn't even look like a wrestling fan.
There's a grandma right there.
I mean, doesn't Christian just give you complete douchebag vibes? I mean, come on.
Look at how that girl's holding her hand. Did you see that?
No.
That girl in the pink was doing the C's, but she was going like, Christian.
Oh, no.
That's funny. Oh, we're talking about the fans storming the ring to celebrate. This title belongs just as much to the peeps as it belongs to me.
I mean, I hear some boos.
Do you?
Yeah. And by some, I mean like 3 people.
Oh, wait. I think I might have just heard some too.
That's what I'm saying. I think. Oh.
King of the Mountain.
Right.
Traditionally, that means 4 challengers.
Is there a reason why the lighting is like being crazy right now?
It just looks cool. The hell with tradition. He's the NWA World Champion. And he's saying he's so damn good, he kicks more ass by accident than more people have on purpose. Oh, he's not leaving this ring tonight until he sees the face of every challenger. Who's going to step up, Bob? Are they going to come out right now?
Who do you think is going to be in King of the Mountain?
Raven. Oh, shit. He's back.
Hoo-ah!
What,
See, I would think it would be Christian, Jarrett, Steiner, Joe, Sting.
Okay, Monty Brown's out, by the way. That's who's coming. He said he's back, and the crowd didn't care until he said that for some reason.
Well, maybe they forgot who he was.
He has been off our screen for quite some time. The bounce. Period. Oh, adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush. Who's this?
Who the fuck is that?
Adrenaline rush. Oh.
The crowd likes it.
It's Rhino?
Why is Rhino coming out to adrenaline? There's Ron Killings. Raven.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, so it's just going to be a plethora of people. Abyss. Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, something's up with this. Yeah, there's Steiner and Jarrett.
They're
that
teasing
sounded
people to be in it.
that sounded dubbed. Like it sounded like they recorded that after. Like, oh, here they are.
Oh, yeah, probably.
A bunch of grandstanders, wannabes. None of you boys even deserve to be considered.
Well, I mean,
I
Ron definitely.
almost said Raven. If anyone deserves to be in this match, it's me. Oh, Sting.
It's Sting.
Is he gonna propel?
The crowd still he's just gonna be up there. The crowd still sound kind of fucking dead.
This is the Stinger talking to you, pal. By involving yourself in King of the Mountain, you're involving me. I'll be there if it's the last thing I do. Do you say, Joe, you made yourself an enemy?
Yep.
Oh, Larry Zbyszko's here somewhere. Hey! Hey! Oh, he's on the screen. He asked you to be tonight in your gear for a very important reason. We're doing this TNA style. 8 top contenders. I only need 4. After Christian just said, I want more than 4.
Right.
Zbyszko's wearing a fucking tie. He definitely is trying to up his game here now that Cornette's probably coming in. Oh. No one will know the name of their opponent until match time. Have a nice night. Adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush.
Adrenaline rush.
Okay, I gotta say, we got a good list of people here, though. So these matches should be pretty interesting.
Ron Killings is in King of the Mountain.
Well, the thing is that
Ron's
Ron's the one who kind of sticks out like a sore thumb here because he hasn't done anything.
He hasn't been involved in a main event since June of 2004.
Actually,
the last time he was in King of the Mountain.
No, I don't know if that's true. I think wasn't he just in a world title match?
Was he?
Look at Samoa Joe getting ready with his old air. What the fuck? Christy Hemme. We got the World X Cup tiebreaker coming up next on Impact. That was very weird.
Yeah, well, that's her job now.
We're back from commercial, and we have a Senshi promo, and he's coming here next week. That's exciting. We haven't seen him since lockdown.
My name is Brandon, and I take professional wrestling very seriously.
I like to kick.
If I don't knock you unconscious, I didn't do my job.
The World X Cup, we're getting the points. 5 Canada, 5 US, 4 Mexico, and 3 points Japan.
Oh, that's the standings.
Yep.
I love how the World X Cup is basically just ending in a TNA match.
Let me give you a few notes here during the entrances, and then I'm sure you might have some indie notes for us as well. But
I think I just have one.
uh,
For the whole
okay.
show, I think I have two.
Okay. No, I meant now, but I got a few notes that kind of relate to the World X Cup and Senshi and all sorts of stuff. So Homicide will likely be getting a chance to show his stuff. TNA was told that when they bring him in, his shoulder wasn't in good shape, and they had to be limited to brawls. The shoulder has now gotten better, but he didn't tell anyone of that. There is talk of doing a Senshi and Homicide versus Styles and Daniels program, or at least a match, so that people can see Homicide working with good people. Also, Juventud Guerrera again called looking for work this past week. When you consider that his name was never even considered when they badly needed a Mexican when Abismo Negro was out, I don't like his chances.
Yeah, he's probably burned that bridge.
Right. Here comes Chris Sabin with Team USA. Now, and then finally, my last note for this match, at least, I think. After their showing on the pay-per-view, TNA was considering using all 4 members of Team Mexico as a babyface unit, feeling that they need that kind of presence in the organization. Incognito made a good impression on everyone, and Puma is already a regular. Magno is only 21 and has some size, plus he can speak English. And Shocker has working papers, so there are no border problems with him, and he's a legitimate Mexican superstar. Whoa. Did you just hear that? They just banned both teams out of the Impact Zone.
That's right. It's going to be a straight up match. Homicide's shoulder is basically the equivalent to Diamond Dallas Page's ribs.
It's just always hurt.
It just seems like he's always hurt. Did Sabin change his hair again?
Yeah, it looks different. It's styled different.
I don't hate it.
I mostly like mid-length Chris Sabin hair, personally.
There's a look of his I really don't like.
Which one?
We haven't seen it yet.
I'll have to think about this.
I don't know when we'll see it, actually.
I'm trying to think of what it could be.
Is it? No, it might be a little ways away.
Well, look at this counter.
It's actually like his hair and just overall character that I just not really a fan of.
I have no clue what you're talking about, so I can't wait to see it. I have no idea. Who is going to leave with the World X Cup, Bob? Probably Chris Sabin, if I'm going to guess.
That's what I'm guessing is going to be Sabin.
Honestly, though, Team Canada could kind of use it. I feel like they're just kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Slingshot here by Petey. What is he going to do? Slingshot? Hurricanrana?
Oh, nice. Off the slingshot. Look at that. Boom.
Who do you think will be the first qualifying match? For King of Mountain?
I would do Jarrett, and Raven.
Really? That'd be weird. I would say probably Monty Brown, judging by how he.
Well, that's actually Monty Brown and Rhino.
Yeah, something like that. But like I said, though, I feel like I would want Christian, Jarrett, Sting, Steiner, Joe.
Here's Steiner, Joe. Yeah, I mean, that's probably sounds the best on paper, right?
That's what I would do.
Yeah, but now Monty Brown's back. Oh, look at Conan on Spanish commentary.
with a hat.
Is that LAX right there? Oh yeah, Hernandez
is.
and
They have signs.
Spanish only. No,
No entree.
no entree. Look at Petey choking Chris Sabin with his own arms.
Sabin elbow streak comes off the ropes. Send to the apron. Springboard drop kick.
Nice. Andrew Thomas almost took a bump on that. Wait. There's a disturbance in the back. Oh shit, it's Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash, he's beating up a guy with a
Wait,
okay, that guy might have had a heart attack.
Was that guy in charge of keeping Team Canada and Team USA out?
I hope not, because he's about to lose his job. TNA made it sound like as if Kevin Nash caused absolute mayhem. All he did was grab him by the shirt and then pat him on the face, and the guy collapsed.
Is this a Slammiversary video? Did Chase Stevens make the Slammiversary highlight video?
Sure, it looks like he did.
Slammiversary. This is the one. That's what it's called.
June 18th, live on pay-per-view.
My name is Brandon.
Kuza kick by Sabin in the corner.
I'm Brandon. I like to kick.
I am Brandon. I'm also the voiceover guy for the TNA events.
Whoa. Thursday night knockouts. Thursday, 9 p.m. Oh, wait. I thought it was talking about TNA knockouts.
UFC.
Oh, that reminds me, Bob.
Sabin's doing the freaking O Canada to Petey.
There was another dark match on this taping that I think is going to blow your mind.
Oh, God. Okay.
I just remembered seeing the knockouts thing. That should be a little spoiler. I got to pull up my card. Hold on. Okay. The other dark match, and listen, to my knowledge, it doesn't show up on this show or our next show, is Gail Kim defeating Tracy. At this time, that's very interesting.
Yeah, because they don't really do women's matches. Unless it was, Desire against fucking Trinity.
Hey, don't you knock Desire. She came back after breaking her back.
I know.
Who was it? Mercedes Martinez broke her back?
Yeah. And it was also the single, maybe one of the greatest segments ever when Don West was rolling down a hill.
That was pretty good.
Because of a sneak attack by Trinity.
Oh, cradle shock?
Definitely see
Petey just had a sharpshooter him, but Sabin got out, almost hit the cradle shock, but Petey Williams countered. Tilt to whirl. Oh! Side Russian leg sweep.
Side Canadian leg sweep.
I can't believe this. I think that Kevin Nash is about to come out here and fuck this match up. I'm just saying. Sting versus Jarrett, Scott Steiner and Rhino. So Mike Tenay's fantasy booking the contender matches.
For some reason, the idea of a Steiner Rhino match really didn't make me excited. That's got
nice cradle shock. That's a 3. The way he flipped him up into that was nice.
So, I mean, that was okay, but it felt kind of dull.
You're just knocking greatness.
No, I'm saying like, hey, good finish, whatever. There's a couple of good spots, but it was kind of dull. I'm wondering if it's a crowd burnout. That it's like impacting my viewing experience because like they're not super energetic.
Here you go. Team USA has the World X Cup. That thing is fucking huge.
Kevin Nash is like that. I knew it.
Oh my God, Kevin Nash just came in and attacked him.
Put him through the table. I get Chipotle for life.
Oh my God, is it time? Oh my God, Kevin Nash broke the trophy.
Bastard. He just broke a plastic trophy. What a piece of shit.
Oh my god, he took a whole thing off of it, and he's fucking.
What is he gonna do? Is he jabbing him with it?
This is ridiculous.
What is he doing?
He's gouging him. He said.
Is Sabin doing a blade job? Let's see.
Yeah, they said he busted him.
Is.
Wow.
Sabin getting juice for Nash. Oh, Nash taking this seriously. He just stepped over the top rope. That's when you know shit's going down.
And remember, Team USA was locked out. They didn't just get sent out. They were locked out of the impact zone.
The jackknife. Oh, man. Okay, so I would imagine that we're going to get Nash Sabin. I don't envision Sabin beating Nash. But he didn't do a blade job. He just smeared blood on it. He just smeared something on his face.
I don't know. No,
Dallas.
He's cut at the top, right up here.
I don't think so.
Yeah. You can tell because his hair was more bloody because I was laying. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I proves that size matters. What in the world? Size matters.
The only way that Sabin is going to beat Nash is if Nash is like, hey, I lost to Ray Jr. I can lose to you too. But I don't know.
The X Division Pioneer even came out. Jerry Lynn.
I think we need Kevin Nash to beat several X Division guys on TV. Have him beat Shark Boy, Sunjay.
What do you say? That's how you become a star.
I think so. Don't you back
dude, I thought I was going fucking nuts. There's an X-Men poster in the Impact Zone for The Last Stand. Abyss is backstage here.
Oh, Lord. This is like a video game.
And look over here. Jeff Jarrett. Dude, this is like the backstage segments in video games where you can walk up and...
I'm going to talk to this guy.
Oh, Steiner ran away.
At least they were all heels.
That's a good point.
It wouldn't be weird.
Let's see what match you got up next. I saw Chase Stevens in the ring. Oh, Bob, did you say you had an indie note during that last match that I didn't let you just say?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have two of them, but it's not for...
Okay.
Well.
Oh, here we go. During the commercial break.
Boom.
Seeing the same stuff. Yeah, see, he's busted.
Maybe it is.
That's it?
That wasn't really anything that happened.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Oh, my God. Look at this qualifying match picture. Holy crap.
See, now all the guys I said would qualify. Oh, wait. Is Scott Steiner about to kill Chase Stevens?
Oh, my God.
He's pissed.
But Scott Steiner is not scheduled right now. What's he saying? I got a Kevin Nash interview note I want to tell you about, but I'm on Sting right now. God damn it.
Oh, wait. Samoa Joe wasn't on that thing.
Interesting.
The qualifier.
Look at, oh my God, he's yelling at Don West. Mike Tenay's losing.
Why is he doing this? Leave Don alone.
Oh. Well, here's music.
Samoa Joe is involved in the match. Coming from the heel side. Just want to note that.
Do we know for sure that that's the heel side?
Isn't that the same side as Scott Steiner just came out?
Yeah, it is.
What's the heel side?
Oh. Oh boy. Okay, well they're flexing at each other and stuff. Let me tell you this interview now. There's an interview with Kevin Nash on Live Audio Wrestling. The host thought they were going to be getting Rhino, but apparently he wanted TNA to pay for his long distance or something because he no-showed. They tried to get him to talk about where his X Division angle was going. He sarcastically said that he was going to destroy the whole company and then leave. They pressed the matter. This is quote, "I'm just curious as to where you're going. I mean, obviously you don't want to work with those guys. You'd obviously want to be doing something different, right?" He said, quote, "Why wouldn't I want to work with those guys?" He claimed they were the most talented guys in the company and perhaps they could give each other the rub.
Hmm.
So he means well with this angle.
Well, the only way that you mean well with it is if you lose, you do the job to Sabin.
Bob, Slick has the shorts on.
Oh, we're back, baby.
We're back in business.
I have one note here for Samoa Joe. It's in Ring of Honor. It's Ring of Honor Ring of Homicide, May 13th. Samoa Joe teamed up with Adam Pearce and BJ Whitmore to wrestle the Kings of Wrestling, which is Chris Hero, Claudio Castagnoli, and Necro Butcher to a no contest in Edison, New Jersey. Oh, and on actually the day before, May 12th, Samoa Joe defeated Apocalypse at Ring of Honor's How We Roll. I have no idea who Apocalypse is. Who is it? Zion, Shadow, Rick Victor. I have no idea who any of that.
Okay.
That's a nobody.
Nice. These two are just throwing punches at each other here, by the way. Nothing crazy happening.
Come on, Chase.
Off the rope. Power slam. Oh, he's locking in the. Is he going to lock in the coquina clutch?
No, he can't. Chase is too strong.
There it is.
Shit.
And that's a tap.
Are you kidding me?
Bob, you'll be glad to know also that Buff Bagwell was on the James Gutman show, and he claimed that TNA would be moving to a 2-hour show at 9 p.m. soon and probably needed some new faces. He said he hoped that the TNA deal turned into something, and he missed the team environment of WCW.
Well, Buff, you're going to continue to miss. Oh,
Andy Douglas is back.
He's back from no showing fucking Hermie.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Samoa Joe, Andy Douglas, Slammiversary.
Yeah.
Shane Douglas.
Wait, and he's kind of looking very curiously at the naturals.
He doesn't have any facial hair.
Yeah, why? I knew he looked weird for a reason.
What the fuck?
Wait, that's the first time we've seen Shane Douglas too in a while.
Yeah, a long time.
The first qualifying match is coming up next. We are back from commercial with a Sting preview. Well, let's see what else I got for you during this quick, Bob. Jim Cornette had his left knee operated on May 9th, and the damage was more severe than the first expected. They had both reattached torn cartilage as well as give him a full ACL transplant from a cadaver. His recovery time is expected to be longer due to the more serious surgery, although he will still appear for the first time on the Slammiversary pay-per-view show. Cornette was told that if he hadn't have suffered the recent injury and just let it go, he was maybe just a year away from needing a full knee replacement.
Team 3D promo here. An eye for an eye, brother, right?
A shoulder for shoulder. My brother's shoulder. Don't get hot or nothing, but like better your shoulder than mine. Oh, he slapped him. They're about to fight Team 3D 1-on-1. Extreme times call for extreme measures. Bob, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck is brother run? Was it literally just like that 3-week period and that's it?
Maybe. I didn't even think of that.
I thought about it after we watched Sacrifice. That's what it must be, right? James Gang, we never said you were stupid. You're a smart team. That's why you've been around as long as you have. You're a great tag team. One of the best. And we thought that this was going to be a wrestling match. Two teams wrestling to find out who the better one
Team
was.
30 would be in a wrestling match. Give me a break.
Look, you even gave me a drop kick. You threw a drop kick last week, and it was a great one. Uh-oh. I'm going to pull a pipe out of the ring. Tables, ladder. I mean, he just said everything that is in it. Let's do it our style. Let's brawl. Let's fight. Last team standing, first blood. It doesn't matter which one you want. If you can swing it, then bring it. Oh, my brother.
So we're basically going to get a street fight. Street fight, baby.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay, King of the Mountain qualifying match here to close out Impact. We'll see who that is momentarily. Oh, it's Abyss. Bob, after the entrances here, I will give you a few more notes here because we only have about 10 minutes and 7 seconds left in the show. It's a little sacrifice preview again. Okay, he's taking too long. The May 13th replay of The Ultimate Fighter and TNA did a 0.7 and a 0.6 rating, respectively. And then on 5/11, TNA did a 1.02 rating and a 1.1 million viewers, but clearly kept the UFC audience in males 18 to 34 with a 1.86 rating, which is about 485,000. That's more than 20% above the number in that demo that TNA's ever done, and the second among all shows on cable, behind only Ultimate Fighter for the entire 24-hour period on Thursday.
We're really going with this Rhino shit. We've seen this quite a bit.
Yeah. I probably could have guessed this one, but I didn't think about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, with all these numbers and stuff, indications internally in TNA are that Spike is pretty happy with the numbers they've been getting, so all good.
What do you mean?
They're happy.
They're happy. What? No way. They're not drawing, tens of millions of people. That's the only way that a network could ever be happy with ratings.
Right.
I have one indie note here. Or let's see. Do I? Yeah, I have one for Abyss. Back on May 13th, Abyss is part of the Unholy Alliance in the International Wrestling Cartel.
Oh.
And he defeated Dean Radford, who is Team IWC, and it's a best of 3 series. I don't think it's between them. I think it's between the two groups. Anyway, it was at IWC's Hell Hath No Fury 2 in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania.
Interesting.
Is it interesting?
The monster's in control ringside. I got 2 more notes for you, and then I'm done for the show. So let's just get these out of the way. As we're brawling on the outside here, as Abyss is Irish whipped into the guardrail by Rhino. Rhino broke the count. TNA has added a Hermie Sadler house show on June 10th in Wayne, New Jersey. The plan is to shoot angle of 2 of the pay-per-view, or I think it's supposed to be 4. Wait, shoot an angle of 2 for the pay-per-view there, which will air on the June 15th TV show. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then finally, you won't believe who's backstage at this taping. That was your old favorite wrestler from the New Church, Brian Lee.
No way.
And he was at the taping looking for work, telling people that he had been clean for a whole year. He'd look much bigger than last time that he was here in TNA as well, apparently.
He was clean. Clean from what? What was he doing?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Hmm.
He was clean. So good for him.
I don't want to speculate, but when we last saw him several years ago, I mean, he was pretty scrawny and thin looking. That tends to be heroin.
Well, could be anything.
I'm completely speculating on that. I don't know.
I don't know.
But good for him. And I'm not being sarcastic, to be clean for you. I just I don't envision a way that he would fit in here.
The thing that's crazy is Abyss just hit a splash in the corner. Rhino kicked out. It's almost like TNA has grown so much that where would Brian Lee fit in here anymore? Whereas like before, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
yeah. But because I don't know. In the Asylum, it felt regional.
Yeah.
So you would expect it, but he probably has a worse shot than Buff Bagwell to get a job.
Ooh.
I wish Buff would get a full-time gig here. I wish.
Like a full run.
Yeah, why not? So what? He's a headache. I love it.
I only want him if his mother comes along. Huge Irish whip into the corner.
You know, wrestling companies tend to, mimic each other with storylines. I don't know if this is the era where Shelton Benjamin's mother was a thing, but Buff could have came back in with Judy and played off that. So
I think it was before this, but
either way, it doesn't matter.
That's a guess. Actually, that might not be true. It might be around now.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
It feels like 05, 06 thing.
Abyss is wrenching at the neck of Rhino. We have 4.5 minutes left in today's show. What is going to happen?
I really love watching Abyss and Rhino just wrestle in a traditional singles match. It's my favorite.
Really, you do?
Yeah, I love it.
Mm.
They promote these hardcore monsters, and they do absolutely nothing hardcore. I love it. Who do you think? All right, who do you think is going to win the match? I would imagine Abyss.
I'm thinking Abyss too. He's the most recent contender. Why would you not have him win?
Rhino literally just lost to freaking Bobby Roode. Rudy Charles counts to 2 after the suplex by Abyss.
Also, I feel like I hate to say it. I think that if we're really not like loving Christian as champion, King of the Mountain is the perfect time to take it off of him. I feel like I don't really mind him right now for my preference, but
I mean, because he wouldn't necessarily get pinned.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I think we should put it on Raven again. King of the Mountain.
Yeah. No, that's not gonna happen. If you take it off of Christian, who do you put it on?
Nope, we're gonna have to see who's in the match, Bob.
I know, but I mean,
you know who's the King of the Mountain?
Do you think they got? So here's the thing: if they put it on Jarrett, then the long game would have to be Sting Jarrett.
Okay.
Yeah,
it would have to be that.
No. Rhino with a clothesline. He's on the middle rope, and fans are chanting gore, but he's not going to do the gore. He does a middle rope shoulder block.
It's kind of a gore in a way.
I guess. Is this a gore to the shoulder?
Are we nearing the end of Rhino's run here? He's going to go back to ECW or something. Does he actually? I don't even know if he actually does. I can't remember.
He does not. It's kind of sad that you're getting a vibe that he is done in TNA when we literally have like.
Oh my God!
Years left of him.
Bobby Roode. He gets gored. He got gored.
So they're gonna have a rematch of fucking Slammiversary.
I hope not.
Oh, they definitely are. Look at this. Abyss is about to hit the Black Hole of Slam right here. Yep, and
boom.
And 1, 2, 3. There we go. perfect. That was a horrible match.
I know what they're gonna do. I know it. It's gonna be Rhino and Ron Killings versus Team Canada.
No, it's not. Don't talk like that. You really think so?
Kinda. Because Rhino needs a partner. He needs a partner. Who better to be Rhino's partner than Ron Killings? Damn it.
I can't wait.
Okay, well,
So
Abyss
excited.
is moving on. Yeah, Scott Demore's yelling in the face of Rhino. Bobby Roode is in pain. This is what we're ending Impact with?
Yeah, mid-card angle, dude. Love it. You know what? They're going to do Rhino versus Demore.
In a 15-minute classic.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, we're going a little early because we're doing those weird highlight package things.
Yeah.
All right. Bob, what'd you think of that episode?
Didn't like it. Did not like it.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I don't like it.
So you're going down. You're saying thumbs down.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know, man. It just felt lifeless. There's nothing interesting. Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Of course you are.
I didn't think it was bad. And there we go. We're officially off the air. No, I did not think it was that bad. I mean, is it the best episode I've ever seen? No, it was not.
It should have been.
No,
Every episode should be the best episode that we've ever seen. Anytime that it's not, it sucks.
No, I disagree. That being said, Bob, this is I mean, if this is our official rankings here, I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad of a show. So that's what I'm saying. This is might be the first time in the history we've completely disagreed. Yeah, it is. Oh, wait, no, it's not. No, it's not. Hard Justice 2005 and Final Resolution this year.
That we've completely disagreed about what?
Like up or down. Usually it's like
for this year.
Besides Final Resolution, yeah.
No, but I'm saying like because we've
ever.
No,
ever. Well, yeah, but saying in the middle is like not really opposites. I didn't think it was that bad. I'm saying thumbs up. That's going to give us a nice medium of.
What did you like about it?
I like the King of the Mountain situation in the beginning.
There's going to be 4 matches on other shows, but we're telling you now.
And it okay, so what? And I think even more than that, after we just talked for an hour before, and how late it is in our real lifetime, I thought that show flew by. So for me, that means it wasn't that bad. It didn't drag for me.
Okay, well, it's only 42 minutes.
42 minutes could seem like an eternity, especially when I'm talking to you.
Wow, that is rude.
I meant over wrestling, of course, because sometimes, dude, Bob's so tired. This dude's like fucking go sleepy, and like, I don't know.
Shit happens, my man.
I know. I don't disagree with you.
I mean, the Nash thing was good.
I like the Nash thing too. I do wish Petey and Sabin was a little bit better of a match, but you know what? You win some, you lose some.
That was disappointing.
They've had other good matches. If I was going to say, hey, go watch Petey Williams and Chris Sabin, I wouldn't say go watch the World X Cup final. I'd say go watch their match at one of the pay-per-views.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I think out of all of it, I just enjoyed Nash's beatdown on Sabin because Abyss and Rhino was boring. Joe's beatdown on Chase Stevens, like, okay.
I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like it's a beatdown.
No, I meant Rhino and Abyss. I think they've had more boring matches.
Oh my god, that was fucking so bad.
I'd rather weapons, of course, but
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you have 2 guys that are historically brawlers. You know, they're using weapons, whatever, and it's like nope, straight up. And then Bobby Roode is in there for the fucking bullshit finish. Great.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Well, needless to say, Bob, next week is actually a
No
historic.
AMW, no Styles, no
I do okay.
Daniels.
I agree with that.
I mean,
I agree with you there.
the four guys that had the best match from the pay-per-view, and they're not even on the show.
That's true. That's true.
Bizarre.
Next week is a historic episode.
It's 100.
Impact 100.
Now they didn't mention that at all today.
No, they didn't, because they probably don't really give a shit.
They probably don't even know.
But I think it's pretty cool.
You want to know what happened on Nitro 100?
Yeah.
Lex Luger won the WCW title from Hulk Hogan.
So anything is
You
possible.
never Lex
Anything's
Luger
possible.
could arrive next week
And win the
beat Christian
title.
Cage for the title.
Could happen.
And we all know that they've been feuding for years.
That's right.
So
I'm looking forward to finding that out. That's for sure.
I bet you today we'll just be like, it's ever. He might mention it, but then nothing special will happen.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Isn't it usually for like TV shows that when you get to episode 100, you've made like syndication? It's either 50 or 100.
Oh, I don't know.
Because like actors would always be like, oh, we got to get to that level because then we'll get checks forever. Which is basically like 3 seasons of the show, depending on how many episodes per season. But I'm surprised wrestling hasn't been in syndication like that. Could you imagine you're just flipping through like, I don't even know what, like True TV, and it's like, oh hey, Raw from 2004 is on. Random ass episode.
That'd be so fun.
You really fucking random. But it doesn't happen.
No.
All right. Next week is Impact 100. What do you fucking do? Who cares?
Oh my god.
Our boy Brandon will be there in action. They didn't say what he'll be doing, but he'll be on the show.
My name is Brandon.
My name is Brandon, and I will be in the King of the Mountain qualifying match, maybe? Probably.
Yeah, right.
I should. I'm Brandon, and I'm very good at professional wrestling. I should be the man that beats Samoa Joe. Anyway, we'll have another King of the Mountain qualifying match, but as Sabisco has said, we ain't going to know until it's time to have the match. So, good luck finding out who will be there until the show begins. So yeah. Dallas, you got anything else as we are heading towards Slammiversary?
No, I don't. I'm ready to get into the next episode of Impact and march toward that King of the Mountain match at Slammiversary 2006.
All right. Well, let's continue on. We will see you next week for some more Impact. For Dallas Gridley, I am Bob Colling Jr., and this has been the TNA Cross the Line podcast.